Check, 1 2 1 2. We're back. I can see. Hopefully you can hear. Please let me know, guys. I'm going to wait until I get some people tuning in to make sure we're actually good. If you're just watching now, we've had a couple failures. First with the audio, second with the video. But now I'm back and things seem to be good again. I'm going to wait till we get some people tuning in, hopefully. Okay, I got one person watching. Click that thumbs up button if you can hear me. You're first. Beyond Truth. Can you hear me? Please let me know. And can you see me? All good now. Okay, well, hopefully we get the viewers back because, yeah, we had a bit of a snag there with the video and the audio. But it looks like we're back. All right, guys, start sharing this stream. This is the one. You can hear and see me. Excellent. Let me just make sure I can flip cameras because that seemed to cause an issue last time. Let me try. Okay, we seem to be good. And we're back. Okay, thank you for the thumbs up, everybody. Thank you for letting me know we're back in action. If you are just tuning in right now, we're in Vancouver for the Al-Quds rally. This is a protest of mostly made up of Iranians. You can see behind me who are against the bombing of Iran by U.S. and Israeli interests. And on the other side, back over there, you have a huge faction of counter-protesters, a couple dozen of them. And they are of the opinion that the U.S. and Israel should be bombing Iran because they believe that it's liberating the Iranian people. But obviously, these entities have no interest in liberating and freeing them of oppression. This is a much larger war that is with a lot more going on to it than that. So let me get back into the thick of the action because, as I said, things have started getting rather intense. I'll show you the counter protesters. So here's the protesters, and then here you have a big line of police who are keeping the counter protesters at bay here. And there's probably 20 or 30 of them or so.
It is a global game of monopoly. Places and people are bought and sold.
And there's probably 150 or so of the actual protesters who are against the war. These people now are chanting President Trump, thank you.
However, in the process, it will cause great damage to the planet and suffering for its people.
Let's get a little closer and get a shot of this.
Jeff Helper said over 2 days ago, Palestine is the laboratory and the showroom of a world process taking hold. Remember, do not forget Palestine. Remember, do not stop talking about Palestine. I'd like to share with you, to finish, 3 short poems which describe in a very eloquent fashion. It's titled, What is Home? What is home? It is the shade of trees on my way to school before they were uprooted. It is my grandparents' black and white wedding photo before the walls crumbled. It is my uncle's prayer rug where dozens of ants slept on wintry night before it was looted and put in a museum. It is the oven my mother used to bake bread and roast chicken before a bomb reduced our house to ashes.
Okay, guys, we've got 70 people watching, but only 22 thumbs up.
My child
That don't add up.
can
Let's make
afford
that
to
right.
learn.
Click that thumbs up button. This is the new stream.
All of these
Share this stream. We're going to be here live for a while. Hopefully nothing goes down.
My beloved homeland.
But
No matter how long the millstone of pain
yeah, these people are rather upset with the anti-war people, if you can imagine that.
Kill your hopes and dreams, or crucify your will to rise, or steal the smiles of our children, or destroy them, because out from our deep sorrows, out from the freshness of our spilled blood, out from the quivering of life and death, life will be reborn in you again. And finally, a beautiful piece after Audre Lorde. Very well-known Audre Lorde. For those living on the other side, we can see you. We can see the rain when it pours on your, no, our fields, on your, no, our valleys. And when it slides down the roofs of your modern houses built on top of our homes. Can you take off your sunglasses and look at us here? See how the rain has flooded our streets, how the children's umbrellas have been pierced by prickly downpour on their way to school. The trees you see have been watered with our tears. They bear no fruit. The red roses take their color from our blood. They smell of death. The rivers that separate us from you is just a mirage you created when you expelled us. It is one land, our land. For those who are standing on the other side, shooting at us, spitting on us, how long can you stand there fenced by hate? Are you going to keep your black glasses on until you're unable to put them down? Soon we won't be here for you to watch. It won't matter if you blink your eyes or not. If you can stand or not, you won't cross that river. It takes more lands because you will vanish into the mirage. You cannot build a new colony on our graves. And when we die, our bones will continue to grow, to reach and intertwine with the roots of the olive and orange trees, to bathe in the sweet Jaffa area. One day, we will be born again when you're not here, because this land knows us. She is our mother. When we die, we're just resting in her womb until the darkness is cleared. For those who are not here anymore, we have been here forever. We have been speaking, but you never cared to listen. Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! And it will be free.
Thank you so much, Bashar, for
all right,
coming up and
again,
sharing your
I'm going to head over to the
and that fact
other side. These are the
that Palestinian
counter-protesters.
people have never stopped to show us that life is beautiful, that life should be reflected with poetry and art.
Oh, cool.
The struggle is a struggle for all of us, for artists, for musicians.
All right, guys. If you're just tuning in, I want to reiterate some important things that need to be said. I said it in the earlier streams, but those streams got killed. There's a large group of protesters here who are against the war in Iran. They're against the bombing of their country. Most of these people are Iranian. As you can hear the chant, "Stop bombing Iran." But this is in Vancouver. There's counter-protesters who are in favor of the bombing of Iran because they believe that it's liberating the Iranian people. Now, I'm not on the side of Iran. I'm not on the side of U.S.-Real or the military-industrial complex. But let's make things very clear. They are not interested in freeing the Iranian people from oppression. That's not what this war is about. This is about resources. This is about power. This is about control. This is about taking over the Middle East one nation at a time. We've seen it with Iraq. We've seen them going after Afghanistan, Libya, Syria, and it's all been the same playbook. For Iraq, it was weapons of mass destruction. There were no weapons of mass destruction. That was all a big lie. We all found out later it was a big lie. Remember the babies in the incubator lie that brought people into the Gulf War? Again, all done on purpose to drum up support for going into war in the Middle East. You had the Gulf of Tonkin incident that set the pretext for going in, the Vietnam War. It's the same playbook over and over. Remember when they said Bashar al-Assad in Syria was going to use chemical weapons against his own people? It's the same thing. Well, here we have, Bibi and Trump and others saying that the Iranian regime is gonna have nukes any day now. They've been saying that for 30 years. And who attacked first in this recent war? It was the U.S. I believe it was Secretary of State Marco Rubio who said, we got intel that Israel was going to strike, so we thought Iran might retaliate and start hitting some of our bases in the region, so we just went ahead and attacked them first. They admitted to this. And on day one of this war, I think it was a school in Iran that was bombed where like 160 people died, most of them kids. And the U.S. government tried to suggest that this was the Iranians doing this to themselves with a ballistic missile, which is, again, just absolute propaganda. And you can't listen or believe what you're hearing from the mainstream news. And even with this protest, like Doug Ford went on the record yesterday in a 3-minute video, and he gave basically a little speech where he used the word hate or hatred 12 times in a 3.5-minute video. That's like almost 4 times a minute. And it's just eerily similar of what the left do when they're opposed to, it's an opposing opinion. They try to shut it down. And I'm of a firm believer of if you don't believe in the freedom of speech, especially for those who you despise, then guess what? You don't believe in it at all. And there's a lot of people on the right, there's a lot of alternative media here in Canada who is in support of shutting this thing down because, they say that there's a faction of it that is going to get violent. Well, that doesn't make up the whole of these people who are just tired of Iran being bombed relentlessly. It's eerily similar of what we saw with the trucker rally, where they invoked the Emergencies Act and they tried to create excuses to shut it down because it went against the status quo, and everybody on the right had a big problem with that, and rightly so. It shouldn't have been shut down. Well, I feel the same right now with this. And I'm not taking the side of the Iranian regime. Look, every country has its issues. But I don't think the U.S. should be meddling in the affairs of foreign nations in the Middle East and making it their business. Who made them the police of the world? And so, I'm all for these people being able to voice their concerns with the war that is happening. Of course, they should be able to do that. And people will say, well, there are people who say death to Canada and death to America and death to Israel. Yeah, well, it was just like at the trucker rally, there was like one guy walking around with the Nazi flag. You think that represents the whole of the group? Dude was probably an agent provocateur. He's probably set up, probably the police. Well, you got to understand that the same thing happens at these types of rallies. So this is why I wanted to go live here today, because I do not trust a single thing that the mainstream media is saying about this war. They've lied time and time and time again. There's like montages of Trump saying we're not going to get into regime change. I'm going to be I'm going to push peace. I'm not going to, be that guy. And then they are leading the charge on the war in Iran, guys. It's, again, they're dusting off the same old playbook that we've seen for decades, because this isn't about stopping their nuclear program. I mean, they allegedly bombed it 12 months ago, right? Obliterated, they said. Wiped it out. Set it back years, maybe 10 years, they said. And now here we are 12 months later, and they're like, oh no, we got to stop them from building nukes, and we got to bomb them preemptively. And then they got to make the excuse that there's like sleeper cells who want to attack you and all this so that they can justify going into Iran. Again, Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Syria, Iran, all on the chopping block by the orders, the powers that ought not be, as I like to call them. So, again, I'm not sitting here taking this any side. I'm on the side of the men and women and children in these countries who are dying unjustly, and this is a military-industrial complex war. Let me know what you guys think. We got 133 people watching, only 68 thumbs up. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button right now. Share this stream. I had a couple of issues with the stream earlier. Audio issues, video issues, so I've had to restart it. So hopefully people can now find the correct one, which is this. Please hit that thumbs up button right now. Hit that like button. Share the stream. Let people know we are live. Throw me a super chat if it is within your means and you appreciate my efforts to bring you this information, because I've been covering this specific issue for 15 years. I have videos going back to late 2011, 2012. There's one called The Battle for Iran that I put out in early 2012 that laid it all out. The propaganda, the goals and intentions of the global elite. It's all happening right now to a T. It's all unfolding right before our very eyes. So again, I had no intention necessarily of covering this particular rally today, but when I saw Doug Ford go on the record yesterday saying that these people are terrorists and hateful, and we got to shut it down, we got to violate their charter and silence free speech, I had a problem with that, and I wanted to come out here and give you the truth of what's happening in real time, live, because you can't take it from the word of the MSM or these crooked politicians anymore. And this is why we need the independent media like Press for Truth to document this kind of stuff. So let me give you a look at what's happening here now. Again, if you appreciate my efforts, hit up that super chat or go to pressfortruth.ca/donate. That's probably a better way. YouTube takes a huge chunk of this, and they'll just shut me down. But yeah, this thing's pretty big right now. Hundreds of people here who are against the war. And then, as I said, on the other side, I'll show you now, there's maybe like 30 or 40 counter protesters who are pro bombing of Iran. They're in favor of Trump and Bibi bombing Iran.
Until Palestine is free from the river.
And these are the dudes who are like cursing and angry.
Free Palestine.
And got a big line of police keeping them back so there isn't a major clash.
Will never fall.
All right, guys, bear with me. I gotta quickly
Will take the
check
ball.
something here.
Thank you all, and assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Hussein. Free Palestine! Free Palestine! End the genocide now! Saba, who is an Iranian Canadian and longtime healthcare worker. Let's give him a warm welcome up to the mic.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم قال رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي امري واحلل عقدة من لساني. This is a prayer of beloved Prophet.
Hang tight, guys. I'm just tweeting out the live link. Maybe you can do the same.
Against war and to demand Palestine to be free and also the Quds to be free. Thank you for giving me the chance to share some point with you. Thank God we are living at the turning point in history. Thank God we are on the right side. Because of this, we must very be careful about misinformation, false news, manipulation through social media, and possibility of what we are known as a false flag operation. I would like to go back to the history about the false flag operation.
All right, guys. Should we start talking to people?
Do
you want to tell us what you're doing here today?
Okay,
no worries. I am going to try to interview some people. Thank you so much for that $5 super chat.
The Israel regime
Really appreciate that.
Egypt of the attack in order to bring US and Egypt to war. Israel killed 34 US crew members. They also wounded 171 crew members.
I don't know if you guys recognize this cop.
Severely damaged the ship.
But when I was surrounded by
Could not prove their
Black
claim
Bloc and
were
attacked by
convicted
protesters,
in the
he was
court.
one of the guys who was dragging me out of the crowd.
1967, the
And
Israel regime paid the US in compensation for the
these guys are
families of
complaining
the
about a particular
34
person who's getting
US
aggressive,
American
apparently.
men killed in the attack. Israel
Apparently
apologized
somebody's
for the
getting in
attack,
people's faces.
saying
He's
the
telling this cop.
USS Liberty have been attacked in error after being mistaken for an Egyptian ship. Others, including survivor of the attack, dispute this account.
So
and
he's saying one of
say
these guys
the
is getting
attack
aggressive
was deliberate. They are used to
inside the crowd here.
deliberate attack and accusing others.
So,
This is a false flag
again, if you're just
operation.
tuning in, these are the anti-war protesters. And these guys are chanting, "Bibi, finish the job."
There is a report that they are setting up
Like,
a
these are
plan
literally the
to
pro-war
attack the
people
US
over here.
coast by using a cargo ship that carries drone in containers. Then they accuse Iran of attacking the US coast to justify the unnecessary and unjust war against Iran. Again, they are going to use the false flag operation. We have to be careful and aware of this.
Cops
operation.
telling everybody, the other police officers, to close in on them more.
The U.S. invaded Iraq. The U.S. said Iraq has weapon of mass destruction. After killing about 1 million innocent Iraqi people, investigate, didn't find any
You know what the bylaws are, right? In Vancouver?
In regards to what?
Speakers. That's all I care about. The speakers. So there's a bylaw that they can't have a decibel over 7.6 decibels.
Oh, yeah.
And the police, so I told the police, Chris, you know, talk to Chris, the big cop here. I said, turn them all down. So he went and turned those people down and he turned them off. But these people have brought their own power.
Oh.
So they can't tell them to turn their shit off. That's why they turn this speaker off.
Right.
Because that speaker's hooked up to city. But they brought their own power.
Wow.
That's smarter, right? After finding that part of the missile, they claim that the school was close to military base. But there was a soccer field close to a school. It was not military base. As you can see, the U.S. terrorist regime tried to changing the narrative. They said that the U.S. Army used old information because the old information shows that it was a military region. How it is possible that the most powerful army in the world with up-to-date technology and sophisticated science and tools used all the information. All the apps like Google Image update themselves automatically. But the truth is, the US authority said they are investigating. As usual, after investigation, they may say it was mistake. But the last report of the Pentagon said it was probably us. Probably.
Shame!
They didn't say sorry. They never be sorry for their crime.
Shame!
And nobody make them accountable. This is the world that we are living now.
Shame!
How many mistakes in the whole world has the US made through these many years? Isn't it time to wake up from their lies? The truth is that the US deliberately hit the girls' school to pressure Iran and show that the US regime can do anything without considering the international law and public opinion. Because they control the news and media. They know their way to go around.
Cops are
but not anymore.
coming in now
People in the
to deal with somebody.
Woke up and saw the savage
Oh, they're
face
taking
of
out,
the US regime.
This is Drew's crew, part of Drew Cooper's crew.
I
don't know why they're being kicked out.
The US regime cannot hide their savage inner self. For clarification, I am talking about the US authority, like Trump administration and people
So the police
who
are
were
removing.
involved in Epstein files, not the nation of America and its people. US imperialist #1 terrorist. US imperialist #1 terrorist.
Don't understand what the problem is.
The problem is they're trying to
It
have
is
a
good to remember that in the presidential debate,
But why do
Hillary Clinton stated that the U.S.
They're telling these guys to leave.
funded ISIS and other extremist Islamic group to fight against Soviet Union.
Thanks so much for coming.
Yeah, for sure.
She declared, there is a document. There are lots of examples of U.S. involvement to destabilize part of the world.
Are they asking you to leave?
They asked me to leave, yeah.
Why?
They started calling me a Zionist, and then the police came and removed us, but we're just standing there, so I don't understand it.
And then next thing you know, someone started filming us with their phone and started saying, "Why are we here?" And then when we said we're just filming the guy talking, they proceeded to start blocking us with their flags and signs and everything and calling us Zionist.
And you're literally just live streaming this and standing there doing nothing, right?
Yeah, I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything while I was there. All I did was just stand there with the camera. You think they'd want the guy to have a platform, right? You think they'd want him to be heard.
Yeah, really.
Instead, they have
Well,
more than 800
hopefully they don't remove you anymore and you can keep doing what you're doing.
Hopefully.
These military bases are more than 10,000 kilometers away from the U.S. land, which have to be closed. Look at the effectiveness of the United Nations in Gaza, Lebanon, Iran, Syria, and Iraq.
You don't belong here.
Iran was
I grew up in this country. What the fuck are you doing here?
2,000 people. The Islamic Republic massacred. They killed my friends. What are you doing here? Shame on you. Shame on all of you. Shame on you. Shame on you. Do you know what kind of flag you're holding? Shut the fuck up. Shut
in the elementary school in Mina. They didn't. Can you believe that?
Every week I'm gonna come here. I'm gonna make sure I'm here every week.
On the contrary,
every week from now.
UN Security Council condemned Iran because they were attacked. Can you believe it? They condemned Iran.
They're all fucking terrorist organization. Shame on
Condemn Iran because of resistance.
you. Shame on you.
In other words, they are
All right,
saying,
guys.
why did Iran
Once again,
resist?
for context, if you're just tuning in, we're here in Vancouver. This is the Al-Quds
They want to Iran.
rally that's happening all over the place. There are hundreds of anti-war protesters here on this side behind me, and they are fully against the bombing of Iran by the Israeli and U.S. allied regimes, and there's a group of counter-protesters across the street who are, if you can believe it or not, in favor of the war. They want to see Iran bombed, and they are against these people, calling them all terrorists because they're against war, I guess. And you know, this is the reason why I wanted to come here and document this all live is because you're not getting the true story from the mainstream media. When we constantly hear this mad fear-mongering about the Iranian regime, it reminds me of the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. It reminds me of the, you know, Bashir al-Assad going to use chemical weapons on his own people. It reminds me of the Gulf of Tonkin lie, getting people into Vietnam. It reminds me of just the same playbook that is used over and over. And I have to reiterate, I am not on the side of the Iranians. I am not in favor of the Iranian regime, but I'm also not on the side of U.S. real either. I'm interested in no wars. How about you know, we just stop bombing kids? I mean, that's literally who died on the first day of this thing, like 160 people at a school, most of them children. And you had the Trump administration suggesting that it was, you know, the Iranians who did this to themselves with a ballistic missile that only the U.S. and
Unfortunately,
some of their allies even own.
some people
But again, it's the same playbook over and over and over again.
to express their opinion peacefully.
Somebody's pointing out, yeah, I'm not all for the Iranian regime. Look, every country has issues, and I'm interested in truth. That's why I'm here. When I saw Doug Ford go on the record yesterday using the word hate or hateful 12 times in a 3.5-minute video, calling these people terrorists, anti-Semitic, and that kind of thing, that's what he's alluding to, saying that they should essentially violate the charter and shut down their free speech. I knew there was a lot of BS happening here. You know what I mean? You cannot take it from them. And I've said it multiple times, but I'll say it again. If you don't believe in the free speech for those who, especially that you despise, then you don't believe in it at all. And I don't think shutting down an anti-war protest like they're trying to do in Ontario is the answer. There's a lot of people on the right, there's a lot of alternative media right now who would disagree with me. They say, yeah, shut this thing down. They're all like, they're calling for the death of Israel and the death of Canada and the death of America. Well, maybe a very small faction of them are. Does that represent this entire group who's just against war? No. It's the same thing with the trucker rally. You know, that was unjustly shut down. It shouldn't have been. But people on the news pointed to, you know, one guy walking around with the Nazi flag, and they were like, all these people are violent. Obviously, that's ridiculous. So yeah, you can't listen to the mainstream media on this, and this is why I wanted to get the truth of what's happening here. And honestly, go back and look at the streams. The only ones who are looking violent are the counter-protesters who are all in favor of bombing Iran and calling these people terrorists. They're the ones who are cursing and shouting and flipping up the middle finger and calling these people names. That's what I'm seeing here on the grounds. Again, I'm not trying to justify either side here. Okay? Like, war is bad all around. But who made the U.S. the world police here? Who said that they should be the ones to go around and so-called, quote, liberate these nations and be involved in these foreign wars in the Middle East? It shouldn't be the business of the U.S. or Canada or anybody over here, for that matter, to have anything to do with what's going on over there right now. So if the Iranian people want regime change, fine, good. Let them have at it, but that should be up to them. And let's not forget, they didn't strike first here. America attacked first. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, I think he is, admitted that they got intel that Israel was going to strike Iran, and then they figured, oh, Iran's probably going to retaliate and hit some of our U.S. bases in the region. Let's just go ahead and attack them first. So there used to be a day when you couldn't just preemptively just attack a nation in the Middle East like that. People wouldn't get behind it. But since you've had them drumming up this idea in the minds of the masses for over 30 years that the Iranian regime is like the world harborers of terror, they're building a nuclear bomb, that they want to kill the white devil, it's all propaganda, guys. You can't believe any of it. It's just like weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. It's just like everything they did in Afghanistan, in Libya, in Syria, and Iran's been on the chopping block for a long, long time. It's about resources, it's about power, it's about control, it's about setting up a Rothschild centralized banking system. It has nothing to do with liberating the Iranian people from a tyrannical regime, or, for that matter, stopping their so-called nuclear program. I mean, Donald Trump apparently obliterated it 12 months ago, right? Why are they all of a sudden now just like, they want people to forget that happened? And now they're saying, no, we've got to stop them again because they're enriching their uranium and they're any day away from having a bomb. Guys, you can't believe any of it. And that's why I figured I better come here, speak with the actual people on the grounds. I got some interviews in my stream earlier, but unfortunately I had some audio issues and then video issues, and this is the third stream I've done right now. So somebody says, who do you think's facilitating all the terrorist attacks? 7 question marks. Well, guess what? Who do you think created Al-Qaeda and ISIS? It was the CIA. It was the intelligence agencies, criminal elements within the intelligence agencies, who are the ones who are responsible for creating those terrorists in order to use them to justify their wars. Who do you think did 9/11? Arabs in a cave? No. That was one of the biggest false flag events that was used to justify all these wars in the Middle East. And so, yeah, where's it coming from? It's the Mossad. It's the CIA. It's, in some circumstances, CSIS, the Canadian version, the Canadian Security Intelligence Service. It's the FBI. You know that terrorist attack that was like, what, a week ago? In Michigan, did you know the FBI had a drill 6 weeks prior to that event? There's always drills prior to the event, like a trial run before they go live. And I'm not saying it wasn't a real event. Like, a lot of times these intelligence agencies find these people who are angry and do have a motive, but they don't have the means, they don't have the finances, they don't have the abilities. And the FBI and the CIA befriend them, and then they start encouraging them and setting them up, and then they arrest them, and they call it a foiled terror plot, or they push them into going through with it. You got to wake up and turn off your TV and realize that these so-called terrorists are a creation of the criminal elements within the United States, i.e. the CIA. That's just a fact. You know, some of these earlier militias in Iraq and Afghanistan who eventually became what we know as ISIS today were fully funded and created by covert operations run by CSIS in the region. Under Obama and pretty much every U.S. president since, they've been running the show when it comes to so-called terrorist attacks. So don't try to lecture me with your 12 question marks about who's committing terror. Take a look at the U.S. government and the covert operations, the illegal criminal elements within the intelligence agencies, like the FBI and the CIA. That's who you need to look at. All right, let's head back into this because again, there are hundreds of protesters here, and a couple dozen counter-protesters. These people are literally chanting, "Hands off Iran," and the other side is literally cheering, "Trump and Bibi finish the job." Like, these guys, you know, against war, and these guys are literally calling them terrorists, but they want the bombings to continue. Chant right now is terrorist deported. They want these people here, the anti-war crowd, to be deported, calling them terrorists.
Okay, so the big Iran banner is going to go up to the front, and more people can carry it there. And then
I think they may start marching.
throughout the crowd also. And the genocide now! And the genocide now!
Somebody said talk to the other side, understand why they're pro-war.
Free Palestine!
Definitely. I did that earlier in the stream,
Free
but I will do that again.
And the genocide now! And the genocide now!
This lady's chant is literally just F you, terrorists, get lost.
So good to see you. I've been a fan of your work for a long time.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, we've been coming out for over a year.
Yeah.
And these guys have come out for 2 months.
Wow.
And we've had a couple of times women have been assaulted by some of these fucking cowards. Like,
Yeah, really?
unbelievable.
Do you mind being on the stream? Or?
I don't mind at all.
Yeah. Tell us that again. You've been coming out to this for a while, and these people are literally assaulting people?
Yeah. Me and my wife started coming out last summer, and we've been coming out every weekend. And just the last 2 months, the monarchists have been coming out, and you know, I completely respect their frustration with their own government, but there's no dialogue. They're just yelling at us, and twice women in our group who've been called the worst insults you can imagine, just screaming, just like what's going on now. We have members in our group, Palestinians, Egyptians, from all over, all kinds of different people, Canadians like myself, and there's no dialogue with these people. I'm from North Van. I have lots of Iranian Canadian friends, and I've been trying to learn from them why they believe that Pahlavi would be a good leader, but it's been horrible having these people coming and treating us like this.
People who are against the war, and then you have the other side being literally angry and sometimes getting violent.
They're asking for their own country to be bombed, and it's really misleading that here it feels like they're the majority of Iranian Canadians, but they're just the most vocal. And my friends here, as part of our group who are Iranian Canadians, said that they're actually a tiny minority in Iran, and even here as well. I've got a bunch of friends there as well that have said they would never come out with these people, but they're so vocal and so fanatical that it's hard for their community to actually stand up against what they're asking for.
Well, thanks for breaking that down for us. So again, she said he's a terrorist. So he was right. He said they're not interested in dialogue. I just said, you want to talk about that? And she just literally just said, no, I don't want to talk to you. He's just a terrorist. So again, this is the small faction of counter-protesters who shockingly, literally want their own country to be bombed by Bibi and Trump. They're fully in favor of it. And the opposite side, who is against the war, they're calling them terrorists. And that's what I'm hearing from a lot of the, surprisingly, the alt-right media and the alternative media in Toronto right now, today, who are suggesting that the anti-war people are terrorists. And from what I'm seeing on the grounds here, the only ones who are getting violent and aggressive from speaking to people on the grounds here are the people who are in favor of this bombing campaign on Iran. It's absolutely insane. So, again, these are the counter-protesters, and this is the actual rally. And I wonder if I should follow this or stick with these guys. I think I should follow the rally. The police are basically leaving. All the counter-protesters. You guys did want me to ask these guys about why they're pro-war. But the cops are not really letting them engage with the rest of this group. I don't know if they're planning on marching just in a big circle and coming back here to Jackpool Plaza. But it looks like the counter-protesters are just going to sit tight and wait. So, you know what? I don't think I am going to follow this rally. They're just going to march around chanting "Free, Free Palestine." Like it's just a march, really. But I'm interested in maybe speaking to some of these counter-protesters, see why they're in favor of more bombings happening in their own country, because that's wild. If you're just tuning in again, thank you for watching. Please share this stream, guys. Thank you for the super chats that have come in so far. If anybody's feeling like they would like to contribute to my efforts to cover these events, please chip in. You can also do so at pressfortruth.ca/donate, or you can do it right here. Pressfortruth.ca/donate is better because I think YouTube takes like 30% or something ridiculous like that, but anything is greatly appreciated. How you doing?
Hey man, how's it going?
Good, good. So tell us what brings you here today.
So first of all, tell me who you are.
Press for Truth.
Press, this is for Canada, yes? Yeah. Okay. First of all, I have to, as a Persian who know what's going on, I have to say thank you, Mr. Trump, and thank you, Benjamin Netanyahu, thank you, CIA, thank you, Mossad Israel. What you saw today is being happened around the world now. These people are connected to the globalism and the lefties. The reason why they are doing that, because they are for the terrorist government in Iran. And that terrorist government now is being collapsed. the reason why they are coming and say no war for Iran, actually they never care about Iranian people, because over 90,000 of my people who came on the streets less than 1 month ago were murdered by this terrorist government in Iran. And none of these people who you see or saw, they came say no war for Iran. None of them stand for my people who were murdered by that terrorist regime, that murderer regime. So these are just connected to the globalism. And the terrorist government in Iran is child of the globalism that 47 years ago occupied Iran. And actually Iranian people in Iran are hostage of that terrorist government. Now that government, we can say, almost gone. And these people who work for that government try to upside down the reality. The reality is this. Thank you, Mr. Trump. Thank you, Benjamin Netanyahu. This is not war against Iran or Iranian people. This is military aid to help Iranian people to eliminate that terrorist government.
But I mean, haven't we heard for like over 30 years that the Iranians were building nuclear weapons, and Bibi's been saying that they're just weeks away, they're just months away. He's been saying that for 30 years.
This is not for years ago. Since 10,000 years, 10 years ago, since 10 years ago, that regime started to make nuclear weapon. They test some part of that in underground in Iran, and they killed. They made earthquake, and they killed lots of Iranian people.
Trump said he obliterated it all 12 months ago. Remember, he said it, he bombed their facilities. He said the whole thing was obliterated, and he sent it back. And now Now all of a sudden they have it again.
The terrorist government in Iran, they were so close to make a big nuclear bomb.
Was it obliterated or wasn't it? Like now all of a sudden they have the capability again?
No, because thank you CIA, thank you Musa.
Why continue bombing the country then? You're in favor of bombing
the country. They are targeting the government's places. As an example, where the rest of officials of terrorist government are hiding. They are all terrorists. They have been running a terrorist system in Iran, and their hand got polluted to Jewish people in 7 October. They planned that attack. Okay, they created Hamas. They armed them for that day.
You thanked the CIA earlier. Are you familiar with the fact that the CIA is actually responsible for the creation of groups like Hamas, like Al-Qaeda, like ISIS?
Actually, we are focused on the terrorist government in Iran and the godfather of terrorism. Let's use this example. 47 years ago, did you see any Hamas or ISIS in the Middle East? Okay, after coming to the power, the terrorist mullahs, when they got the power, of course, with the help of MI6 Britain. Okay. You call the leader of the terrorist government in Iran as a supreme leader. Who made supreme leader? The name of person, the British woman, was Anne Lambton.
What about when Mossadegh was democratically elected, and then the CIA created a coup to have him overthrown so that they could install their own puppet?
They lied. The plan, regime change 47 years ago, behind that plan was MI6 and Britain, because the king of Iran didn't want to sell the oil of Iran to British Petroleum.
So the U.S. and Britain was upset that it cut into their profits.
Democrats, not Republicans. Don't forget. Never say America. I mean, who made America? The children, women, men, and 2 parties. Republicans never. Democrat, Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter was behind that ridiculous decision, that bloody decision. Okay? Because they just wanted to remove the king of Iran, the Shah, Mohammad Reza Shah, because he was Iranian patriot. And now Iranian patriots want their country back, and they ask for help from USA and Israel as military aid, not military attack. So America is not bombing Iran, is bombing the certain targets in Iran.
But is there a chance that there's a great deal of propaganda around this? Because remember when the U.S. and everybody said that Iraq was holding weapons of mass destruction, and it turned out none of that is true. Absolute lie, a false pretext to bring them into war. Could this not be the same thing?
Time of George W. Bush, they attacked to the Iraq, and they said they have chemical weapons. Okay, why that?
Bashar al-Assad going to use chemical weapons against his own people? Like they've said these types of things over and over again as a pretext to invade.
They did it, but at the end they found out that some part of information was wrong, and the admin.
Wrong, or they lied about it?
No, they were wrong, because any presidents in the USA, they have people around themselves to help them to make a decision. Okay. Not only the president of USA, like Canada, CSIS give advice to the prime minister about something. Sometimes that advices could be wrong. So that was a big mistake, that attacking to the Iraq, and USA charged for huge amount of money.
Is it possible people are mistaken about Iran and their intentions, so-called harboring terrorism and nukes?
We Iranian, we are before attacking the certain places in Iran by Israel, Mossad and CIA, America, we Iranian people asked for help, okay? Military aid, not attacking our country. And I have to say thank you, USA, I mean, Mr. Donald Trump, and thank you, Benjamin Netanyahu. God bless people who
Thank
are
you.
against terrorists.
Thank you for talking to me.
Thank you, sir.
Wow. Whew, man, fascinating stuff. The sheer extent of just people who are gobbling up the propaganda that's coming from the U.S. government, the Israeli government, the military-industrial complex is shocking. The guy was literally in favor of bombing Iranian facilities in the effort of stopping their capabilities, but I kind of tried to reiterate the fact that, haven't people been lied to before? About, I gave him an example, Saddam Hussein having weapons of mass destruction. He's like, oh, well, no, you see, they were just fed incorrect information. The intelligence was just off, and they were incorrect. And I'm sure you just heard me try to say, well, sure, or maybe they lied about it as a pretext to justify a war because they're trying to take this nation over, and he wasn't having any of it. He's like, no, that's not what's happening here. Thank you, Bibi. Thank you, Trump. Let's go war. It's absolutely insane what we're seeing here, guys. And this is why I wanted to, come down and document this live for you guys. Hear from the people on the grounds. I interviewed both sides. And I got to tell you, man, I've obviously never been taking the position of backing either side, but listening to the anti-war people who simply just don't want their country bombed anymore, and then listening to the counter-protesters who are fully in favor of demolishing the Iranian system and government. I mean, it's a no-brainer who's on the wrong side of history here. So, again, the fact that in Ontario you had Doug Ford trying to shut this thing down, claiming that the anti-war people are violent terrorists, hateful 12 times, he said in his little 3.5-minute speech, it's nonsense. I'm not buying it. Sure, there may be a small faction of them who are interested in violence or are, saying they want to wipe out the white devil and is, anti-Israel, anti-U.S., anti-Canada and stuff. Sure, you're going to get small rogue factions within all, political movements and especially anti-war movements. Does that make up the whole of the group? No, not even close. So, should the charter be violated? Should free speech be violated because you disagree with some of these people's opinions on the war? I don't think so. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you don't believe in the free speech, especially for those who you despise, then you don't believe in it at all. And so, again, I'm not taking a side here. I'm not, pro-Iran. I'm not pro-U.S. real. I'm just anti-military industrial complex and against this whole thing. So anyways, I don't know if the main protest is planning on coming back here, if they're just doing a circle around the block, but this might be the end of it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Should I stick around and see if people return? And see if there's going to be, God forbid, some sort of clash with these aggressive anti-counter protesters? Or should I call it a day? Do you have any questions? Let me know. And again, if you want to contribute with the super chat, thank you to whoever has done that so far today. Go home and chill, eat din din. Yeah, I got to make dinner for my wife and me. I'm the chef of the home, so I do have to get back soon. Have you ever read the Albert Pike letter? Says Ostrich Poach. Yes, I have. I've done many videos on Albert Pike. I've read his book. I literally read Morals and Dogma. I have it. I have a copy on my shelf in the background of all my videos. I wouldn't recommend it. It's a difficult read. But yeah, I'm well aware of the letter and the 3 world wars prediction, and how basically the first 2 were nailed, and the third one is basically pitting Christians against Muslims. But it's this Hegelian dialectic that the global elite often set up, right? You have the thesis, the antithesis to that, and then you have the solution to the problems that are often created. And both sides of all wars are manipulated and controlled by the same entities. 20% power. I did bring an extra battery pack to plug in just in case I ran out of power, but this stupid phone, you can only either plug in the mic or the battery. It's one or the other. I suppose I could have a splitter. Maybe I'll have to do that next time if I want to stream for a long time. But let me know if you have any other questions, anybody. I went down to where Albert Pike's tomb is. I was in the same building where Albert Pike's body currently is. And that's at the main Masonic Lodge temple in Washington, D.C. I actually did a video tour of that lodge where Albert Pike's body is buried in the basement, essentially. And they stopped allowing anybody to film in there after I did that. That was like in 2012, maybe? 2013? I don't know. But if you look it up on my channel, the video is titled Enter the House of the Temple, I think I called it. Really fascinating video. One of my favorite videos I've produced at Press for Truth. I've done a lot. Over 2,000 now. This is my 20th year, in case you don't know. Launched Press for Truth in 2006, July of 2006. So we're coming up on the 20th anniversary of Press for Truth. But yeah, check it out. I was in the same building where Albert Pike's body is currently entombed. I've read his books. I know... yeah, quite a bit about that man. So yeah, thank you for the question. Well, it looks like the main counter-protesters are leaving. So that might pretty much wrap it up for me today, guys. You've got like a few remaining kind of straggling counter-protesters. The cops are kind of sticking around just to make sure, nothing crazy happens. But I'm glad to have done this. I don't normally document these types of rallies, but I mean, when I saw kind of the propaganda coming out from the MSM about the anti-war group, I knew something was fishy about it. And sure enough, they were all peaceful from what I could tell here. The only ones getting aggressive were the people who are in favor of bombing Iran. And that guy who I interviewed there on this stream is like, no, we're not bombing Iran. We're just going for, yeah, well, innocent people are still dying, pal. And, how about not being for war at all? So I might call this one, guys. I've been streaming for a couple of hours. This particular stream's been going for a little over an hour, but this is my third stream because some of the earlier attempts failed with the audio and then the video. But that's that. So I'll stick around for one more couple minutes. Let me know if you have any other questions. But I think I might wrap this one up for the day, guys. Get back to my wife, dogs, hopefully kids someday, working on it. People often ask me that question, and definitely would like to see that happen. But we're running out of time, getting old. Like, I literally just saw a video I had to pull up for somebody from 2019, and my entire beard was black, only in 2019. This is only like 7 years ago. And look at me now. Crazy. It happens fast. Who commits all the terror attacks in the West? Says Tokyo Speedboy. Well, from my experience, more often than not, it's criminal elements within the intelligence communities, like the CSIS, the Canadian Security Intelligence Service. We've seen them do so-called foiled terror plots time and time again. You look at the Toronto 18, for example. This was, there were CSIS insiders, informants all over it. You have the Via Rail terror plot being foiled, again, CSIS agents all over it. And then look at the Canada Day bombers. What was it? Cordry and I wish I could remember their names. A couple who got off. A judge ruled that they were entrapped. It was CSIS agents, informants, who were, again, trying to manipulate these guys into going along with this. And they didn't have the means. They didn't have the money. They didn't have anything like that. But there was CSIS informants who were trying to get them to do it. That's who more often than not is pulling these things off to justify not only foreign wars, but also to justify taking away our own freedoms, rights, and liberties right here at home. So yeah, if you want to look into who's causing the real terrorist attacks, more often than not, it's the RCMP, it's the CSIS. These are the guys who are setting it up more often than not. Just trying to read some more comments as they're flying up, but I think I'm going to call it. I've got like 94 people tuned in right now on a channel with 284,000 subscribers. Obviously, that doesn't add up. I'm being heavily shadow banned still, but I thought I would go live here today on my YouTube channel just in case something went down. Like these counter protesters were pretty aggressive. Thank God nothing actually happened, but that rest of the protests I don't think is coming back. Looks like they're probably heading to the art gallery or something like that. But I think I'm going to call it a day. I'm running out of battery juice here, and gotta get back home. I've been subscribed for over a decade because you used to do reporting. Well, I don't know what you call this that I'm doing right now. I would call it reporting. I'm still reporting. I've been doing the same thing for 20 years now. And anyways, thanks for watching. You're apparently still watching, so thank you for that. All right, guys. I think I may call it maybe I'll throw together a video, but probably not. I mean, these live streams kind of speak for themselves, I guess. So I'll post it on my my website. Again, guys, if you do, what did that person say? I call it shilling. I call it propaganda and self-aggrandizement for yourself. Hey, man, you're free to believe what you want. I don't do this for my own, self-gratification or whatever you're trying to accuse me of. I eat, sleep, and breathe Press for Truth. I have since 2006. I've been awake since the late 90s. Became an activist in 2001. I continued doing activism for 5 years until 2006. I decided to do my own thing and launch Press for Truth. Again, coming up on the 20th year anniversary. It's a long time. It's crazy to say, but that's where we're at. Anyways, guys, I think I'm going to call this one. I feel like I'm a young kid who's on the phone with a fresh girlfriend relationship. No, you hang up. No, you hang up. I'm going to hang up. Okay, but you hang up. It's like I don't want to leave you guys. I love you guys. I got to do more live streams more often. But anyways, I hope you appreciate the stream. I wanted to get the perspective of both sides. And I think I managed to do that. Go check out the earlier stream. It got the audio cut at one point, but I'm glad I was able to get it all figured out and get back in action here. So that's it, guys. I'm going to call it. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. If you do appreciate my efforts, you can hit me up. Just subscribe to the channels. Not here. Subscribe to me on Rumble, on BitChute especially. If you go to pressfortruth.ca/subscribe, you'll see a whole bunch of different platforms I'm on, because the censorship is going to come again. I got to say, that was one of the most frustrating things when YouTube reinstated my channel and I was gone for a number of years. A lot of you guys, viewers, were like, hey, where'd you been, man? Haven't seen you in years. I just thought you'd kind of disappeared from the scene. It's like, no, I've been producing daily videos the whole time. Just going up on my BitChute channel and Rumble and stuff like that. You only thought I disappeared because you only watch me on YouTube. So that's going to happen again, guys, when some other scamdemic hits, whether it be a health crisis or a terrorist attack or an economic crisis, you name it, something's going to happen. And they're going to try to censor me and shut this channel down again. So make sure you subscribe to me on these other platforms. You should be able to find links to that in the description. Or just go to pressfortruth.ca/subscribe. If you do want to support my efforts financially, because I only take donations from you, the viewers. That's how this works. I put out all my content for free, 5 documentary films, all my videos, and I simply just ask if you appreciate that. In return, you throw me a couple of bucks here and there. You don't have to, obviously. Subscribing and sharing the videos is the most important thing. I just want the information to get out there. But I do need financial support as well. So if that's something you would like to do, pressfortruth.ca/donate is the best place to go, because there you can do PayPal, you can do e-transfers, you can sign up as a monthly contributor through my Subscribestar or Patreon, which has recently reinstated me. And there's other ways to donate there too. Crypto, you name it. Go to pressfortruth.ca/donate. All right, guys. That's it for today. I'm going to call it. I'm going to get back home. I'm going to cook up some dinner for me and my wife. And I just, once again, thank you so much for tuning in. This, again, is not the kind of rally that I normally cover, but considering what's happening in the world, I figured I ought to be here today. So I hope you appreciate that. Once again, thanks for sticking around with me. All you guys who said you've been watching for 10, some of you 20 years, thank you for being loyal supporters and for continuing to watch. So that's all for today, guys. Thank you so much. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.